to our macro file. It also gives us the option of providing a individual image for that button. That way, if you have multiple buttons, you can distinguish them. You can distinguish between them. I already have a button made. I already have an image saved. And make sure that whatever image you want to use is a bitmap. Also, make sure that your macro file and image are in a location that you're not going to tamper with. If you break the link, or if you change the location of that file or the image, then the button's no longer going to work. So keep that in mind. So click on OK. And then now you can see we have a new button for making a cube. And we can click that and we'll make a brand new cube. Now if you want to delete this button, what you need to do is right click on your command manager, go to customize, and then simply left click on that button and drag it off into empty space, and that's how you delete it. Now there's one other button I want to go over in the macro toolbar, which is editing the macro. And if you edit a macro, that'll allow you to actually see the VBA, which is the Visual Basic for Applications code. So I'm going to open this up. And we'll take a look at it. Alright, this is the Visual Basic for Applications code, the VBA code, that was created when we recorded our Solidworks API macro of making a cube. Now we can actually go into this code and edit it manually and then save our code, and now we'll actually change the macro. And that's what we're actually going to do for the next lesson. This is a good place to stop. If you have any questions on what we just went over, or if you have a SolidWorks API topic that you'd like me to cover, just leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Alright, see you later. Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the second tutorial on SolidWorks API. And in this tutorial, we're going to do a quick demo of editing macro code and give a brief introduction into the SolidWorks API library. Okay, let's open up the code from the last tutorial. And just a reminder, this is the code that creates a cube part. And just so you can recall what it does, I'm going to hit the play button up here. I can run the macro directly from the VBA interface rather than this button up here. They both pretty much do the same thing, so I'm just going to run it through the VBA interface. And you can see the macro runs. And you'll notice that at the end of the macro, we actually recorded some camera movements of the part, which we don't really need for this macro. All we really want to do is just create a cube. So what we're going to do is edit our macro code to remove the commands that rotate the camera view towards the end. And at this point, we don't know what any of the commands are saying in the code. So one way that we could figure out what these lines of code are doing is to run through the code line by line and see what how each line affects the SolidWorks program. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So to run the code line by line, what we're going to do is add a breakpoint at the first line of code in the submain. So when we play this, or when we run this program, it's going to stop at this first line of code. So let's close this document and let's run the code, and it will stop on the first line. So hit run, and now we're at the first line of code. Now to go through it line by line, you can press F8 or click the step into button. So I'm just going to press F8 and go through this line by line. So this runs the first line of code, and apparently so far this set SW app equal application.solidworks doesn't seem to do anything.